And the holidays continue. The girls are in the home of Mr. and Mrs. Mark Frumkin. That's Mark and Lynn Frumkin in northeastern Pennsylvania. And we're always talking about Christmas, Janine. The holidays, we do the Christmas shows, but there are so many other holidays that happen in between that month. And we're so fortunate enough to be invited to come in to your home, the Frumkin residence, to learn about Hannukah. What do you know about Hannukah?
Me? Not much. Well, I'm not an authority
just
on
as much about Hannukah that he does about jewelry, I'm sure.
Well,
right?
I'm not sure about that. I might know more about jewelry than I do about Hannukah.
Yeah, of course,
I
familiar
have some
face.
prior knowledge of Hannukah, and I'll try to do my best with this.
Well, I know the viewers out there are probably not familiar. It doesn't really have a big thing to do with Christmas, but it's celebrated around the Christmas time.
It's in the same proximity. It's actually, Hannukah is a festival. First of all, thank you very much for coming to my house and Lynn's house tonight to share this with us. It's always important for folks to feel that they belong to the community and to be able to give something to the community, and this is going to be our little thing this year, is to give Hannukah to because there's a million questions. What is Hannukah? What does it mean? Why is it so close to Christmas? Is that like Christmas? And it's not. It's not. It's a little different.
Okay.
The reason it falls in the vicinity of Christmas, and it always has, the Jewish calendar is actually a lunar calendar, okay? And it goes on the 28-day cycle of the moon rather than the normal calendar, which has 31 days. So every year, all of the Jewish holidays fall on different days and on different times of the month, which has to do with the calendar, with the moon.
Calendar.
With
oh,
the moon.
All right.
Well,
All right,
that's
so
number one. Hannukah falls on a different day each year.
Right. And Hannukah itself, the word, means rededication. Okay? And it's not a rededication like you might think. It's a different type of rededication. What happened was, and I'm thinking this is back around 180 BC, 160, 70 BC.
You weren't there, were you?
Actually, I was,
spirit.
and that's why my memory of this is so dim. But what happened was that the Greeks and the Syrians had taken over the Second Temple in Jerusalem, okay, and had defiled it. There was burnt offerings in there and things that you wouldn't normally do in the temple, right? And basically a band of farmers, the Maccabees, got together and took it back, right? They
reclaimed the
They
temple.
took stuff back.
Tough baby dolls, right? And they were fighting, and they took it back from the Syrian king and the Greek overseers, and rededicated the temple back to God.
Nice.
And that is the idea of Hannukah, meaning rededication.
Well, where does the Festival of Lights come in? Because we always hear that Hannukah, I know when I had my store, it was always Hannukah, the Festival of Lights. And of course, the color blue, you think of with Hannukah, sparkly and blue with lights.
Blue.
I have blue pants on.
You have the blue pants
You
on.
have the blue tops on.
And when you're not familiar with what Hannukah is, sometimes you're uncomfortable saying Happy Hanukkah. When do you say Happy Hanukkah? Are you offending someone if you say it the wrong time? You know, we know when to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
July, and I'd be good with it. You know what I mean? But,
yeah.
so the 7 days of Hannukah is the Festival of Lights. When the temple was taken by the Maccabees, the high priests of the temple started cleaning it up. They started rededicating it. They pulled out the altars, and there's a light that hangs over the altar in every temple. There's one in Agudas Israel, there's one in Beth Israel, there's one in every temple, okay? And that is called the everlasting light. The everlasting light burns day and night, okay? And it's just a dedication kind of a thing. All right.
And
So
what
there's
key,
some
is
other-
it a candle or
Well,
what kind
of
a
course,
light?
in modern times, PP&L has taken over
It's
the oil
the
bulb,
electric.
but in those days, the light was olive oil. It was just olive oil burning, a flame
can
of
do
olive
that.
oil burning, and it was
Absolutely.
refined olive oil, and it was refined olive oil, and it was it had to be sanctified and everything. But when they started doing everything, they found a small amount, and they thought, this is only going to be good for one day, and they sent out for more, okay? But the rabbis, the high priests, having all this faith, said, you know what, we're going to light it anyway, we're rededicating it, we're lighting it now before it gets here. And by some miracle, that little bit of oil lasted the 8 days.
So that's where the 8 days comes in, where you celebrate for 8 days.
8 days. So we light a candle every single day for 8 days, and there's a certain way we load the menorah. That's a menorah.
Okay.
We'll talk about that next. But that is where the Festival of Lights comes from, and the 7 days, and the real meaning of it being the rededication.
When does Hanukkah start this year? The
It
24th?
starts, yeah, on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
It starts on Christmas Eve.
How about it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'll be getting some real gifts. It won't just be Hanukkah gelt this year, because that is usually the Hanukkah gift is just for the kids. You give them some money or something like that.
So how does that work with the gift portion of it? For Christmas, we know that we get gifts on the 25th
Right.
in celebration of Jesus' birthday.
Yes.
So for Hanukkah, when Hanukkah begins, do you get a gift each day of the 8 days?
Well, the kids generally get some Hanukkah gelt.
Oh.
It's just some money.
Now you're saying gilt.
money.
It's not G-U-I-L-T. It's
No, it's gelt, G-E-L-T, which is a Yiddish word that means cash.
Okay. Do they get money every day?
Gelt.
Or do they get money one day?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day
Wait,
the
that
candles
sounds
are
like
lit
my
and
house
the kids
every
get
day.
a little bit of gelt.
Wait a second here.
You know?
I think on
It's
my
not
list.
such a bad deal.
I think on our list
That's every
this
day.
year.
It's such a deal. It's a good deal. Yeah, no, this is it's fun.
I have to add
right.
that to my list this year.
All
What do you
right,
want from
moving in
Sarah?
here.
Gelt.
Gilt.
Guilt.
So
Gelt.
we give gelt every night for the 8 nights. And every night, menorah is reloaded with candles in a certain direction and in a certain way.
Okay.
And they're lit in a certain direction and a certain way. And it's the same way it's always been done. And I guess we'll just roll into that at one point in time.
We are, because when we come back, we are going to learn about how you specifically, like you said, the process of lighting the menorah.
Right.
Am I saying it right? Menorah.
Yes.
Menorah.
And we're also going to invite your wife into the show, correct?
Yes, and she'll help me
All
say the
right.
prayers.
Lynn is here. Stay with us. You're watching a special holiday edition of The Girls right here on SSP TV and SSPTV.com.
Welcome back to The Girls. If you've just joined us, we are at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Mark Frumkin. This is his wife, Lynn, who has now joined us, and we are going to light one of the most, I guess it's the most significant part of Hanukkah, is the menorah.
Being
And
it's the
symbolic.
Festival of Lights, these are the lights.
These are the lights. So we've
These are
been
the lights.
discussing Hanukkah, what it's all about in this holiday season. And Mark, take it away.
Okay, well, this is a menorah. The menorah always consists of 8 candles for the 8 nights of Hanukkah, and they're always set a little bit lower than the server candle, which is by itself and a candle that would light, pardon me, the other 6 or 7 or 8. So every night, on the first night of Hanukkah, you would say, and it doesn't really matter how many, you know, if it's 8 nights or what, but every night, Hanukkah candles, pretty basic stuff. You add candles to the menorah from right to left. So we're going to add 3 candles to this.
Which is the way we read, from
Yeah,
right to left.
Okay.
Hebrew is
And
read
are
that
they
way.
lit before you put them in,
No,
or
you
do
put
they
them in
get lit
first.
after you say, okay.
Put
And
them
are
in.
they special candles? Are they blessed candles? Are
No,
they...
they're candles. These
right.
particular ones were hand dipped in Israel, but you can get candles. It doesn't really matter as long as the candle burns for a minimum of 30 minutes. It
Okay.
can be an official Hanukkah candle.
All
It's
right.
30 minutes is the break, is the cut.
Get them in the grocery store.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
right. So
If you'd
then,
like to do a menorah, now you know how.
right, on the first night of Hanukkah, there's 3 different prayers that are said over the Hanukkah candles, and I'm not going to get into all of them tonight. But there are 3 different prayers, and the first prayer is a prayer that's said on every holiday. When we come to that holiday, it's just thanking the good Lord for bringing us from last year to this year that we can do this again. Okay?
That's a nice...
Yeah, the second prayer is a thank you for the miracles that happened to our ancestors and that we're able to share those miracles in a modern time. And the third prayer is basically the commandment to light these candles, okay? And that's the one that I'm going to do. So first of all, we need
Matches.
Good
fire.
matches.
Look how I did that. Huh? You always light, is this going to work? No. You always light the server candle first, and then it lights the other 3.
And now we reverse it though when we light the candles, the newest one.
The newest one goes first.
Yes. So we're going to light them this way. So if there's 3 nights of Hanukkah, this would always be the first night, this would always be the second night, this would always be the third, the fourth, and so on. We always light the newest one first. So we'll start with this, and we'll say the prayer. It is, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher,
Asher,
Kiddushanu,
Kiddushanu,
B'mitzvah So, Vitzivanu, L'Hadlek Ner, Shel, Hannukah. And that means basically, praise to you, eternal our God, who makes us holy through this mitzvah, which is a good thing that you're doing, and commands us to light the Hanukkah lights. And there we are.
There we are.
We're at the third night of Hanukkah, and we're not even at the third night of Hanukkah. How fast time flies around here.
Magic
It does
of
fly
TV.
fast. And we should actually have this where people could see it. So if you were putting it in your window, you would put it from the outside, it would be on the left side. And many, many years ago, people, because of the situation they were living in, it was maybe unsafe for them to do that. They kept their
Nazi
menorah
Germany, places like that.
hidden. But if possible, you should put it where people can see it.
Now, so at the end of the night, you blow these
They'll
out?
just
No,
they'll just
they burn out.
on their own.
So you have
They
to
have
wait
to
till
burn
these
down.
burn to the bottom.
Right.
Okay.
They
That's
burn right
pretty
down.
similar to what we do on Christmas Eve in our household. We burn the bayberry candles all the way
Right.
down to the socket. We don't blow them out, but that's just for good luck. That's
It's
not
all
a
beautiful
religious thing.
tradition.
So these will burn all the way down. Now you're just representing 3 nights of the 8 nights of Hanukkah.
Correct.
All right. And then on the 8th night, when all the candles have burned out, is there something else that you light to keep the festival of lights going, or that's the end?
That's
you're
it.
turning the lights
That's
out
it.
on
That's
on
it.
Hanukkah.
Done deal.
All right. Well, what other celebrations do you do? Do you have special meals? We heard that we have some gifts and things.
To
but
celebrate the
there are some
fact that
things, too.
the original eternal light was filled with olive oil. Many of the foods that you find at Hanukkah are fried, in fact, in olive oil. And Lynn's going to give you a demonstration of her prowess in the kitchen making latkes.
Yes, and latkes, to many people who don't know what latkes are, they're actually like potato pancakes. But we use matzah meal, and I use Mark's mother's recipe, and I've added a little thing to it, and I kind of have made it my own. And then, you put some onion in it, and we just fry them, and we have them with sour cream and applesauce.
All right.
So when we come right back, we'll learn more about the traditions here at Mark and Lynn Frumkin's house. We're learning about Hanukkah here on SSP TV.
And this is my favorite part of the show. We get to speak with Lynn, and we're going to cook, and we're making latke, which is a potato pancake that you eat as one of the special foods for Hanukkah, right?
Yes, we always have it the very first night of Hanukkah. It's a treat.
All right.
It is a treat for me, too, and I love them. So why don't you tell everybody your secret recipe?
Okay, so these are my potatoes.
All right.
And this is matzah meal, and I've added a few other secret ingredients, and a little pepper, just a little bit of salt.
Now, is that kosher salt?
Yes.
Of course, right?
And 1 egg.
Look at how nice that is. I'd have the shells in there.
I was going to do it with just one hand, but I was a little afraid.
Okay, now all of the traditional meals and all of the food that you're making, you learned from Mark's mother or took recipes from her? And as you said, you made like little adjustments to them yourself?
Well, my mother actually made potato cakes growing up, so I took a little bit from her, some of Mark's mother's recipe, and I just I like to play with it. So I've changed things around a little bit.
Made it your own.
Yes.
And are there onions in there as well
Yes.
with the potatoes?
Yep.
So you had boiled potatoes, you pureed them
no, I
in the
don't boil the
blender.
potatoes.
Oh, they just soak, and then you put them in the blender,
In the
grind them
blender.
up with the onions.
Yes, the old-fashioned way was to use a grater,
grater.
but we know what happens every time we grate.
Grate your knuckles.
You do. So
Then you have to start over.
Yep.
All right, so these are raw potatoes with onions and matzo meal and egg and salt and pepper.
yes.
And of
Okay,
course
because
you
I'm
have the-
making these for
And
my
Boiling olive oil.
And this has been simmering for quite a while, so
I'm going to step back.
I'm a little leery about this, but we'll see.
Ooh, potato pancakes. They smell yummy. Again, we need smell-o-vision, or you just have to make them yourself so you could experience it at home.
Or come over to Lynn's house.
Yeah.
Sure.
And what time do you have the Hanukkah dinner usually?
We wait till sundown. Our holidays begin at sundown. They go from sundown to sundown.
Sundown
So,
to
and you
sundown.
see, these are frying
Wow.
very quickly.
They are.
So I'm a little old-fashioned. Mark likes to turn things with a spatula. I like 2 forks. That's what I grew up with, using 2 forks.
You can't mess with the chef. That's your thing to do. You know exactly when to turn them. They puffed up so nicely, too, with the matzah. That's a good thing to try.
Yes.
And what will you serve with this?
Applesauce and sour cream.
Very good.
And we just make a meal out of potatoes.
So it's a
wrong with
simple
that.
but delicious dish, and it has significance because of the oil.
The olive
so you
oil.
do everything with the olive oil.
Yes.
And who's the head cook and bottle washer in your house?
Well, that's an
You share
interesting
You
question.
share the load?
No, I'm the cook. Mark does make turkey. He does make our Thanksgiving dinner, but all the other meals, when we eat at home, I am the cook.
So we're going to
And he
have
helps
to
with cleanup, though.
Well, that's good. So he's like the sous chef.
He's the
walks
dishwasher.
Around. He walks around cleaning up after me, because you see, my egg goes right on the counter, the eggshells, everything else. I'm messy when I cook, so Mark
you're
comes
cooking.
around cleaning.
Now, Lynn, along with this meal, do you make any side dishes that are traditional as well?
No, not for Hanukkah.
Okay.
Hanukkah is strictly latkes.
Okay. All right.
Well, I could probably eat a latke of these because they smell really good, and I really love anything that's fried. I know that's not really the best thing for you, but
Well,
it is a celebration.
it is a
And it's
celebration.
a special time, so if you have it, everything in moderation.
Yes.
And if you do the work, and it's good to enjoy too. But it's a nice celebration with your family. Do you have all of your family join you as well?
No, usually Mark and I, our kids don't live around here. One is in Florida, one is in Pittsburgh. So holidays are quiet for us. It's usually just the 2 of us. Sometimes we get some friends. But, we have such a hustle and bustle life.
It's
that
nice to slow down.
The holidays for us, it's a holiday not to have so many people around.
Right, that's part of the relaxation
Yes,
and
for us
enjoying
it
your
is.
holiday.
All right. Well, the food is prepared, and of course, after you eat, it's time to play some games, Hanukkah
Right.
games.
Exactly.
Yes.
Let's see
You have
what
to
we
have a
can.
Hanukkah game.
Let's
and
go,
Dreidel
let's
is
see
the
it.
game. So this would be the symbols. Lynn?
Okay, so when we
first
what
one
we
is?
first what we do is we spin the dreidel, and each person would have their own dreidel. And the first symbol, which is what Mark has now, that's none. That means you do nothing. So you wouldn't do anything, you wouldn't take any
None.
money, you wouldn't
Nothing.
win any money.
Okay, so where does the money come from? There's money in the pot?
We put
money
money
in the pot.
Everybody starts out with an equal amount of money.
All right.
And some people they'll use gelt, they'll use the money. Kids
brought my
sometimes
money.
will use raisins or chocolate chips, anything you have.
Raisins or chocolate chips? I like that.
Yeah, it's really just for the fun of it.
Okay, well, the 3 of us will play, and you can
So-
tell us what
all
to do.
right.
Okay,
I'll
so
put one
everybody
in.
puts 2 pennies
Oh,
in.
you put two.
Two
You put your
pennies.
2
You put 2
cents
cents
in.
in.
You put your 2 cents
You
in.
put your 2 cents in. You take the 2 cents.
Okay, and
Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel.
okay, so
Okay.
first one spins.
Spin it.
Okay, here we go.
spin it. Spin it. Spin
Woohoo!
it. Spin
Look
it.
at that. I never spun a dreidel.
This is a very
Okay.
good spin, by the way.
Oliver wants daddy.
Aw, he wants to
Oliver
play
wants
too.
to play.
Okay, what did I
And-
get?
Okay, so that symbol is Gimel, which means you take all the money.
Take all the money.
So you won.
So that's the end of the game.
That actually is the end of the game when somebody wins.
Well, there you go.
Congratulations.
But there's all different symbols. Hey means you take half the money. Shin means you pay in 2 pennies. None means you do nothing.
I love it.
Well, you know what?
love
I
it.
don't want anybody to be a sore loser, so I'm going to give you your 2 cents back. I'll give you your 2
sharing.
cents back.
Well, thank you.
And that's because that's what tradition is. What you do, you always share what you have, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That means Mark will give me
2 cents.
1.
There
of
you
his
go.
2 cents.
I was going to say all 4 of them.
Well, I hope
He
that
will.
everybody enjoyed learning about Hanukkah, about the foods, the traditions. I know we are so very grateful to you for
Yes,
inviting
thank
us
you.
into your
Oh,
home.
we're so
Thank you
thankful
so
you
much.
came
Grateful
in.
to
This
you
little
for
guy over
allowing us
here.
to share our holiday.
Well, thank you too. This little Oliver is so cute. He was just groomed, and he's just the cutest little bugger. So we're going to enjoy the rest of the night playing dreidel and having latkes.
And
It's
happy
snowing, and we're
Hanukkah to
having
you.
a very nice time.
Thanks for joining us here on our holiday edition of The Girls.
Thank you. Happy Hanukkah.